Good afternoon, YouTube. Northern Michigan Living with another video about the L322 Range Rover, this time in front of the camera. So I'm getting ready to service the differentials and the transfer case, and I thought I'd share a little information that's useful that I have found in my years of owning an L322 Range Rover. So first off is the Land Rover fluids from the dealership or a dealer-supported aftermarket supplier, what have you, they're very, very expensive, especially like Lifeguard 6 for the 6HP 2HX or 26X, excuse me, transmission. They're very, very expensive. So for that one in particular, I use Mercon SP. I don't have a bottle here because I used them all up. It takes like 8 quarts, drain the filter, change the filter, and then refill it. You can't go over 50 degrees Celsius and all the procedure. There's plenty of videos on that. But when Ford started using that ZF transmission, the 6HP 26X, they decided to change the fluid, and they created Mercon SP specifically for that transmission, and it's like $8 a quart. So yeah, I use that. It's significantly cheaper than the Lifeguard 6. And I got 173,000 miles on this thing, and it's still running fine. So it works great. Shifts are nice and crisp, everything like with the factory fluid. And it's red. So if it begins to leak through the connection piece or the filter housing or the drain plug or whatever, you'll see the evidence of it. Because Lifeguard 6 is clear, of course. So the other fluids. This one is Synchro Max. Works great in the transfer case. It's I think it's 1 liter that fills it, 0.9, 1.1, somewhere in there. I'll have to look it up. But I buy 2 of these just to keep them in handy in case you get spillage or something of that nature. But Synchro Max works great in the transfer case. In the differentials, I use the Max Gear 7590. The appropriate weight is 7590, and this is the locking rear differential. This works really good, okay, for both the front and the rear. And you can get it at your local auto parts place, and it's significantly cheaper than the Land Rover option, okay? It works just as well. And again, 173,000, and it's not leaking anywhere. So this stuff's working pretty good. Power steering fluid. Max EZ power steering fluid from Royal Purple. Works really great. I did the old suck the fluid out, pour this in, let it run, suck that fluid out, and so on. Because I didn't want to disassemble the filters, or not the filters, but the coolers and so on to drain all the fluid, and this worked really well. Power steering pump is nice and quiet. Also, it does not leak. It's the factory one from 2007. So, and then oil, I just use Castrol Edge full synthetic 5W30, high mileage, because again I got high mileage, and that stuff works really well. I would stay away from the Pennzoil with the natural gas derived type synthetic oil. That made my lifters and everything leak on this thing. Not the lifters, the tappets and the cams. They started making them leak, or not leak, but rattle. So you hear the timing chains and the cams and all this. It just made too much noise at startup, so I got rid of it. And the Castrol, perfectly silent, works great. So you can't beat it. Those are the fluids I use. Again, the Mercon SP for the transmission, and I've never had a problem. And I wouldn't hesitate to drive this car anywhere. It's got 173,000 on it, but it's still going and going and going. And the only problem I have is some after catalytic converter oxygen sensors, but that's because I put high flow cats on it. So I kind of invited that problem to myself. Other than that, the car runs great. These fluids have helped tremendously. I change the oil every 5,000 miles, and I change the other fluids like every 50. Never had a problem. And the car's still going strong. So these are just some tips to maybe help you out. I use Royal Purple just because I've always had good luck with Royal Purple. If you like Redline or Motul or whichever, I'm sure they're just as capable and just as efficient. The difference is I can buy these at the local O'Reilly's, no problem. And I don't have to special order or anything like that. So if you use something different, yeah, let me know. If you think you got a better fluid, yeah, let me know. Because I know Liqui Moly works really good in the M5, but I don't use it in this. Just because, well, let's face it, this doesn't have a rod bearing issue, where the M5 does. It's a 2010 M5 that I have. So I try and use all the best fluids I can in that thing to preserve that engine as long as I can. So that's about it for today. It's a brisk 18 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so I'm going to wrap it up now. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, please, feel free to post them below. I'll answer them as best I can, or whichever, please have a great day. Thank you for watching. And please like, share, subscribe, whatever. And we'll catch you on the next video.